Oh, okay. They said yes. They can hear us. Okay. Well, good. Anyway, magandang umaga. Good morning. I think it's still morning. It is still morning. It's 10:21 here in the Philippines, and we are the streaming that we have here is a little bit more complicated than I expected. I expected this to be a lot simpler. Yeah, it's kind of convoluted. You have to have an external codec. You got to sync up all these kind of settings, and I've been so busy with the building, with yesterday's World Beck trip that David and I took a visit with yesterday. We spent the entire day. I have the entire video. It's edited. It is uploaded, but I don't want to display it until after the video gets done today. I want to try to change the setting just a little bit. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to show you what we were supposed to start out with. This is the way it was supposed to start out here with technical difficulties, because we were having a little bit of technical difficulties right here, and then it's supposed to start here with the. Then it's supposed to go to this. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. Is that? Then it's supposed to go to this right here for an intro. Oh, but it's not showing, so it's not showing. Oh, there it goes. And then what we're supposed to do after that, we are supposed to go into our full screen. So let me see if I can do just some of the settings. We need to have some full screen settings right here. As soon as we get the full screen settings in here, I think we'll be ready to start actually talking. Let's take a look. And what I want to do is I want to go back to the chat inside here. Great. I'm so glad. We got almost 100 people starting off at the beginning of the chat. Again, I apologize. I apologize for the late delay of us getting into the video today. My bad for not taking the time out or trying to understand all this as easy as possible. This isn't the most intuitive software that we have right here, but with a little bit of practice and a little bit of study, it will be very easy to do later on. And we'll add some more things on the future live streaming events that we have. What we will do is we will include other graphics that we have inside there. It'll be more of a nice polished presentation. So this is off the cuff right now. It's impromptu, so hopefully we can get this thing going. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Anyway, the purpose of today's live streaming event is I invited our guest here, and this is David. I know you know David from one of the earlier videos. It was a Sunday video, the one where we did David and Ria's house, the one over out in Mount Malaria. And David was a contractor inside the Philippines. And then he moved on to some other things, and he's contemplating coming back and doing some more builds back in the Philippines because I believe he sees that there's interest in people building high quality houses that have a combination of both North American, European, and Philippine standards all in one, where you can get the best of all worlds. Well, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to turn it over to David. What I want David to do is I want you to do kind of an introduction. I'd like you to let us know briefly, how you came to the Philippines, what you've been doing in the Philippines, some of your background, and then we'll go from there. Just a little bit of that for an introduction. How's that?
That's fine. That sounds good. Well, I'm from the UK. I've been in engineering for about 40 years. Started off in reinforced concrete as a draftsman, worked my way up through into an engineer, oil and gas, mining. Mostly overseas. I left the UK in the 1970s, and I've been in the Middle East and the Far East for all that time. It's a lot warmer than the UK. I just returned from the UK 10 days ago. -5 it was the day I left, and I come over here, it's 30 degrees, so it's a lot warmer. Back in the, I started working in Europe, then went to the Far East, Indonesia, Thailand, places like that. Then I did 14 years in Nigeria, working for oil and gas companies, Chevron, AMEC, and a few others.
They want you to smile, David. Get a big smile on your face.
Yeah, well, this is my first time on TV, live streaming. Then I find myself in the Philippines in the late 90s, early part of this century. decided to stay here. I kind of semi-retired at that time. I was 50 at the time. But I got fed up with doing absolutely nothing, so I started building houses over here about 2004, 2005. I ended up building 24. One for a developer at Canyon Woods, which is in Tagaytay, overlooking a live volcano there. Then I got a lucrative offer to work for a company, an oil company, Indonesia, and I went to Saudi Arabia, then Qatar, but then the oil price crashed. I guess a few guys might be in the oil and gas industry might know that. So I did nothing for a year, then I ended up in the UK. But after a year over there, it's too cold, so I decided to come back. So that's basically it.
Okay, well, I have to apologize again. I can't get the full screen. I know you're saying, because I have a monitor set up here right now, and I can see that we have a compressed screen right here. I'm trying to work and make the screen a little bit bigger. They want you to speak a little bit louder.
Right, okay.
We're kind of restricted to very simple hardware and the software that we have that we downloaded. So the audio you're getting, I believe it's coming from this little Logitech webcam that we have right here. And again, we're inside the house, and inside the house we have this little bit of an echo effect. But if we go outside, there's some construction going on, and it will be even worse outside. Next time, maybe we'll do it in the Bahay Kubo, because we can get great streaming from the Bahay Kubo. So anyway, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to go. I would love to be able to get. Stand by for just a second. I hope we don't lose you. But what I want to do is I want to be able to get this full screen right here and see. Stand by for just a second. Let me see if there's anything I can do to correct this. You not seeing the. You're going to probably get a transition into things. Oh, there we go. Boom. Here we are. We are back. I think I got that portion figured out. One step, baby steps here, guys. So anyway. I didn't listen to your entire. I wasn't ignoring you, but I'm trying to do all the technical. I'm trying to do the software setting up and the video to try to make this work properly. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the floor. I have some questions before we actually go through some of the chats. We had some questions earlier, and let me see if I can find that. And these were people. I asked people to send in some questions, and we're going to direct these questions over to David. And let's see.
A lot of these questions are going past at the moment. Somebody mentioned Canyon Woods. I actually lived in Canyon Woods from 2000 and when was it? 2005 through to 2012. I built my own house there, and we also built 22 houses for the owner of Canyon Woods. Golf villas, they were. And my house is on the golf course as well.
Okay. Okay, I have some questions. What we'll do is shoot a few questions from comments that you sent in some earlier episodes that we did here. And then what we'll do, we'll go and we'll try to integrate between the live chat as well as some of the earlier questions. So the very first question, there's a question from username Moving On. He said the use of the SRC and the M2 panels for home construction. I've watched a couple of videos on them and wonder what you guys think and know of them. SRC, isn't that what we looked at yesterday when we were at WorldBex?
Well, there's some precast. I mean, some of these panels that have foam inside and wire mesh on the outside, and you use shotcrete. But every house I've built over here has been traditional, using hollow blocks. There are precast panels and things like that you can do. It makes the build a lot quicker, but I've not personally used them. I like the traditional build, to be honest.
Okay, and probably one of the reasons that you like the traditional build with concrete hollow block is because all the workers here know how to use that. That's the standard.
Yeah,
I imagine that's probably one of the things. But I will tell you, and I don't want to give spoiler alerts out, but we got a great video set up for you. When this live streaming is done right here, hopefully it's recording. It says it's recording, and then we can publish this as well. At the same time, as soon as we get done with today's event, we're going to publish the event that we did yesterday. We spent all day yesterday at WorldBex. We started out first thing in the morning. We had a little bit of traffic getting up there up to Manila. And then I think about from 10:30 until about 5:30, we spent the entire day in WorldBex 2018. And it was a great event. For those of you who have watched the WorldBex 2017 event, that I published back in February of March. It was March of 2017. That was a good one, but this one I believe is even better than that one. Newer technologies, new materials, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's quite a long. Last time I believe I did a two-part series. I think I did a part 1 and a part 2 because it was so long. To be able to get this thing out to you with minimum editing stuff like that, what I did is I'm creating a one episode. It's going to be a long one. It's about an hour long. Please bear with it. And I think you'll find, because there's something all along the way inside there that's very interesting for those who are interested in home building and new technologies in the Philippines. I had some surprises as well. And what we're talking about right now, about the concrete hollow block, the alternatives to concrete hollow block, we found several different alternatives, different types of technologies, and that will be shown also in that as well. So let's go back. Let's go ahead. We haven't had an opportunity to look inside the chat. Now, I don't know. I have to look at the settings here real quick on the chat. I need to know how to stop them because the chats are going by so fast inside here, and I don't want to miss anybody that had a chat at the very beginning. So I'm going to try to go to the beginning. I'm going to look to see what we have after we started and set up right here. And thank you for all the really kind words from all the people who are supporting us and are enjoying the channel and just have the kindest words to say about it. So we're on. I see where we went online. So yeah, people making funny comments about we need a telecom engineer inside here. There's
a couple of questions here. One said, any photographs of the property I've built? Next week I'll go out back to these properties. The last one I built was in 2011, I think. So I need to go back to these places and take some photographs. And I'll be posting those next week.
Okay, let's see. Everybody's telling us where they're setting up from, where they're chiming in with us today. I want to see some specific building. Oh, here's a question right here from Colleen. Colleen says, "I'd like to know approximately what a 2-bedroom room, 1.5 bath house would cost, cement type of house." Well, I think, I'm just going to kind of jump in here just a little bit. That's from Colleen.
Okay, yeah.
Colleen right
2-bedroom.
And it's not so much a 2-bedroom, it's the scope of the entire size of the house by square meters. Because you could have a bedroom, itself that's like 25 square meters. You could have one that's 50 square meters.
Well, my one is 6.5 by 5, so we've got a 30 square meter just for my master bedroom alone. If you look in the earlier video that James took at our place last year sometime, I guess you'll get an idea of what I built there. Now, you've got single story and 2-story. It's cheaper to build a single story building than a 2-story building, obviously. But really, if you want prices, you're looking at different quality builds. Yeah, I guess you're looking at, for a nice quality finish, somewhere in the region of 30,000 pesos a square meter. But you need to give an idea of the floor area. 200 square meters or 250. The price will be determined by the size of the house as well. So there's a number of factors you need to consider. But you obviously need a set of plans so that one can price on that. But I've got some ideas on the best way to go about doing that later. You want to cut into it?
Well, I do. I want to piggyback on what David just said. He threw a number in there, and that was the 30,000 per square meter.
Yeah.
If you look in episode 27, and that was in the early stages of us actually doing it, but it's still as valid today as it was when we did episode 27 a year ago. Episode 27, I explained when you build a house in the Philippines, you pretty much are limited. There's about 3 categories that you have. It's kind of a low quality, it's a standard quality, and it's a high quality build. Yeah. Now, what the price that David is quoting, and correct me if I'm wrong, 30 is in between the standard and the high quality. That's right in the middle, because you could do a really high quality house built here in the Philippines.
40,000, you got the 40,000 a square meter. Quality of finish, materials used.
That's 40,000 is super high quality and the highest finishing and all. And you can still even you can build for 18,000, as low as 18,000 per square meter. But that's going to be very simple. All your walls are going to be 4-inch concrete hollow blocks for the exterior. All your finishes on the inside are going to be the very small millimeter. And the finishing is really what sets your price.
That's
everything,
right.
The materials for your finishing. Did you want to say anything?
What I intend doing, should I ever build anything again in this country, is I would put in a price.
What do you mean, should you? You're getting ready to do a startup again here. By the way, David is doing a start. He's looking. If you are interested, he's looking for potential clients. If you're interested in coming in the Philippines and you want to do a build, and you want, remember we talked about oversight. Oversight is the most important thing, and that's one of the things he is going to have on his. He is not only going to be doing oversight himself, but he's going to bring in additional. He actually wanted me to come in and do some of the oversight for some of the quality control and some of the electronics integration that they have in there, like we have for the networking, things like that. We're still in dialogue about that partnership relationship. But yesterday we were talking to people inside WorldBex, and he's actually trying to hire on some staff to do some of these high-end oversight type of roles and responsibilities that you don't normally get, like what we have here at the build at Villa FELIZ. So anyway, I just want to jump in there.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, anytime you're going to do a build, you want more than one quotation. So you can go to 2 or 3 contractors here and get prices from everybody, and then it's your best guess which one you want to go with. And you'll always go back and see the quality of the work from the contractor. But if you're in the States, it's difficult to do that. So you might need to come over here and have a look at what's been built before. Price-wise, I've got an idea. When I would put a price to a project, I will put in an allowance for tiling, an allowance for sanitary ware, roofing, that kind of thing. So if you want to spend more or less, depending on what you prefer, if you're going to Wilcom, which is have you mentioned Wilcom?
They know I go to Wilcom.
Okay,
Wilcom is my number one.
If you look at the tiling in there, I would put in a price for tiles. Say you put in a figure of 500,000 for an average nice tile, but you personally come over and you want to choose something more expensive or cheaper, the price can be adjusted up or down on that basis. Now, what a lot of contractors do in order to get the job, they will underprice on materials such as tiles and sanitary and everything else. It brings the price down and makes them appear competitive. But you don't really know what you're going to get at the end of the day. I would prefer to leave a choice of tiles and various other things, doors, things like that to a client. So,
I would like to basically say that statement he's talking about contractors doing that to underbid the job, and that's pretty much what happened with the case of this project right here. One of the reasons I chose the contractor I have now, because he came in under the prime contractor that we were going to select earlier. And these things that we're revealing here today are things at the end of the Villa FELIZ build. There's going to be the good, bad, and the ugly of building in the Philippines. I'm going to have probably a 1-hour episode about this entire build that we have here for all the contractors, all of the subcontractors, all the materials in place that we build. And it's going to be candid, and it's going to be honest, and it's not meant to hurt anybody, and it's not meant to put anybody at the top of a list, but it gives you an opportunity from our experience, from my experience, selecting all these different people to make better decisions when you do yours. Well, anyway, Colleen, I hope that answers your question. Basically, in short, that real long thing, we got to move on. There's a lot of stuff we have to cover today.
Just quickly going back to Colleen, I see you're looking at a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath house. I mean, what you need to do is sketch out a floor plan and then come up with a floor area, and then you can better address that question.
And also when it comes to that,
love.
If you guys are actually really interested and you're serious about building in the Philippines, we'll have David's contact information in the description block after the video, and you can shoot him an email. If you're serious, shoot something to him. Let him do a rough calculation for you for like a ballpark, because he did it for me. He did it for this house when I was staying over at his house before we started the build here. I stayed with David and Rhea for a couple of weeks. He does Airbnb at his house over at Mount Malriot. And he, just as a courtesy, he sat down and said, let me see your paperwork, let me look and see. And he did a rough evaluation. And it came in very close to what our contractor actually put inside there. Anyway, but if you're seriously thinking about doing it and you're interested in David assisting you with the build, just go ahead and shoot some information.
Yeah, I don't quite know how this works. Can we respond later to some of these questions?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we can directly respond to some of those. But if anyone wants to email in and want absolutely free advice on anything at all, no problem doing that.
Okay. And I'll provide his contact information in the description after the video. Let's move on here. Let's see. I don't want to miss any important questions about building. No, it's about. Okay, well, it's a question right here. Matt Peterson. How do you handle Southeast Asian downpours with Western-style architecture. How do you handle the dispersal in the roof and still manage moisture issues?
Well, it's an interesting thing when you talk about architecture. I like Mediterranean-style property. Now, when you're looking to build a house over here, rather than engage an architect and go back and forth and try and figure out exactly what you want, it can get be quite an expensive exercise. What I would recommend is go online. There's a lot of companies advertising free house plans. I'm sure most people know that. And have a look and get yourself an idea of that. Now, I've got my own preference. I've actually sent James a PowerPoint presentation. Can we get that?
I don't know. Let's see if we
just
can do that.
Just out of interest, if you can see my own personal choice.
Let me see if I can do that. Let me go real quick. Let me try. Just tell me which slide. We'll just do one slide.
This,
is this a slide?
Can people see this?
Yeah, I'll be able to show them this. So hold on.
Go to the top one.
The top one?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
No, that's the one below.
This one right here?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to try to do a screen share with you. Let me see if I can move this to the top. And let's try this right here, and we'll do the, see if we can do the transition. Okay.
If we can run through some slides.
Let's see. This one right here. Hey, Ness, can you see this right now? Oh, we'll talk about that. Can you see this on your screen? So you should see right now. I'm hoping you can see what he was just talking about.
Yeah. Do we know that for a fact? Okay. You can't see the slide with the house
I think there's a delay. I think we have like a 30-second delay or something.
Okay,
so
let's assume you can see it.
Well, let's see if I can do this real quick. Well,
let's assume people can see this, and then we'll talk on this basis. So if you Google house plans, you can see basically you'll save a lot of time and heartache really going to what other people have gone through before. Choose something you like, and then you can change it around slightly. So if you go to the next slide.
And this is exactly what we did. This is what we did with Villa FELIZ. We found house plans that we wanted. We found actually 2 house plans that we really liked. And what we did is we combined those plans together. And we liked this room on one house plan, this room on another, this kitchen design on one, this patio on another. And we combined those together. But you're going to find, like we did here, even after you do that, when you're building, dynamics change, the way you see things when it's real in front of you. And then you might want to make changes there. And we probably have to talk about that when you make changes in the middle of a build. Yeah. David can probably talk about. So
the thing in the Philippines is...
This one you talk? This one?
Yeah, okay. This is a typical website, house plans online, and you can see different styles over there. Go to the next slide. Yeah, now this is my own personal preference. These are modern build, also Mediterranean. This is a Spanish villa. There's a company over there selling these for $1 million plus. But I like this style. It's a rectangular build, and it's easy to build as well because of the simple lines in this. And it does look very nice.
When you said $1 million, that's in the U.S. That's another place. That's not in the Philippines.
No, this is what it would cost in Spain for that property.
So we don't want a sticker shock on this because I know that you would not pay $1 million US
no, that's $1 million over there.
So
but over here,
approximately what would you say that build would be?
You could possibly do this depending on the quality of the finish again, because some of these windows could be extremely expensive. Something like that, say 300 square meters, 3,500 square feet.
For one or two stories, 300 square meters between the 2 stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that with a swimming pool in front of it could cost you as much as 15 million pesos.
Yeah.
$300,000 only. I mean, that's pretty good.
Looking at that right there, I don't think that is 300 square meters. I'd say that.
No.
Not that one. That's much smaller.
No, if you go down, there's others. There's 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, and 5-bedroom.
So this is just different pictures of the same house. Oh.
Yep, they're different houses actually. There's 6 different builds. That's a nice one. I like the lines on this. This is similar to what I've built over in Mount Malarai.
Now you know our Mediterranean build here is much different than these. These are more like Arizona, New Mexico.
Okay. I built a New Mexico house.
Yeah.
And I'll get some pictures next week of that.
But
carry on a bit. Okay. I mean, to me, I like this.
But these you can see these in the Philippines. I've seen a lot of these square type rectangular houses like this. Yeah.
But they are nice. So you get a typical build. If you look at this floor plan on the left, open kitchen style, There are variations on this, on that particular website. We'll go through these questions in a little bit. Go to the next one.
Next one.
Okay, typical. I mean, these look great because they are show houses, but you can do the same. Nice. They do look good. It might not be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But that's my own.
No, this
personal
is
preference.
a huge open
So
floor
this
plan
is the
right here.
open.
And this one has different variations. Is this different? Now, let me ask you: is this different variations, right?
Yeah.
Because this area, this open space right here.
Yeah, that one's got a bar on it.
Those are options, different options.
Yeah, the different
if you wanted
options
the same floor plan,
similar floor plan with variations. Yeah. So that's
and
one
enclosed,
with kitchens enclosed. Now,
yeah, things like that.
But they do look nice.
So anyway, that is so. What I want to do, let's try. I got to find out how to get back to.
That's my own personal choice anyway.
Okay, so let's get back. Let's move this. Move back to this. See if we can, and we'll do the transition. Okay, I think. Okay, I think we're back online to the. Let me get back into the chat. Okay, I think we're back into the web browser right now. I hope everybody can. Hope everybody's still. Yeah, I see things moving along, still progressing, and we got a green for the string note, so that's good. We're actually. I think this is 1080p that we're sending this out. I wanted to do a high quality, special recording. So instead of going back to the chat right now, I don't know where did these come from the chat. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some of these things inside. And this was the first one that came down, and this is a big concern right here. I want you to talk. Matt has a question. He says, earthquake concern, designing your house with earthquakes. And for consideration. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, where we are, I don't know whether you've had it, but where we are over in Mount Malaria, also over in Canyon Woods, you can feel the earth moving.
You're only like 5 kilometers away as the bird flies, as they say, as the crow flies from here. So you know,
whatever. Most of the time, I'm awake all day.
Whatever you get up, yeah, and there's a lot of seismic activity in the Philippines.
Yeah, but everything has seismic design. The engineer will always include that. There's no problem with that. Everything's designed against earthquake.
And I will tell you what they will do when it comes to that. It has a lot to do with the rebar, the diameter of the rebar with regard to the lengths of your structure, your beams and your columns and things like that. But everything over here is definitely, if you get a good contractor and a good architect, and it also has to be approved by the city engineer. Yeah. There's a structural engineer. And if it's not right,
you must be licensed locally anyway, which I can't do that. So we get a local engineer designed with experience, seismic design. You put extra rebar in. Personally, when I do a build, normally you'd use 25.
Don't get too technical.
Oh, all right, okay. I usually use a higher grade. I go to the next one up, so the concrete I put in is stronger. It doesn't cost a great deal more, and it's a good investment. Yeah. The structural frames I build are to a high quality than that called for in the design. And I use high quality rebar as well, high strength rebar.
And that's a big thing when you have that'll be a difference from contractor to contractor. The quality of the materials that they select and the appropriate size of the materials that they and if you don't know, if you're not aware, say you are not like for myself, when my family was in the construction business. And I know when things aren't right. I can see flags. There'll be red flags, and then I approach the contractor. But if you don't have any background like that, then you need somebody that does have that can look at what's going on with your build. Anyway, let's go to the next one. We did that one. Yeah. We kind of did that one right here. And I'm sorry if you are getting video lagging. If it's what I'm going to do at the end, if it's a broad problem with video lagging, then what we'll do is we'll change the streaming on our next live streaming event to a smaller resolution. A lot of times the lagging would be on your end. It'll be on the receiving end. If you have low bandwidth receiving the signal, say you're on a DSL, or if you are on a cable modem with between 5 and 15 megabits per second, then it'll be a problem. I don't think it's a problem here because here we have 50 megabits per second upload, and during this time of day it should be really good. So let me know at the end of this if the amount of people that have any type of video lagging. As a matter of fact, yeah, at the end. And then I will adjust as necessary. So let's look at the next one. Oh, here's a good one. This is from Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk wants to know about swimming pools, and what he says is the cost and the size of a standard swimming pool. If you're adding to that, what is a typical charge for a standard? Well, like yours, you have about
I've got a
the
40
typical.
foot. My swimming pool is 40 foot by 14 foot, something like that. It's 110,000 gallons, I think. I'm not sure offhand. It's just a guess. But one of the biggest costs of the pool, the equipment price is not too bad. Most of it's imported from China. A lot of it goes to the US. You know, they manufacture good quality stuff at the end of the day. Some of it. There's not too many moving parts anyway. But the tiling can be very expensive.
That's probably the most of the finishing tiling
the
inside
finishing
there.
Can cost quite a bit of money.
We saw that yesterday at Worldex at some of the price. Even David was shocked. It seems like there's an inflation right now with the cost of some of the building materials that I think a lot of them looked like 30%, and some maybe even 40 or 50% above what you expected them to give you.
Some of them are just plain ridiculous. So I've got a steam room in my house. I bought a steam generator from China. It only cost $100 at the time, and that was 2 or 3 years ago. Well, that's broken, and it probably costs more to fix it, so I'm going to buy another one. We met a company we spoke with over there. A steam generator. They gave me a price of 290,000 pesos, which is what, $4,000.
How much was it?
290,000 for a steam generator. I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a quote last week for a new one at 150 US.
Yeah. So
if you've got to replace it every 2 or 3 years for $150, I'm not bothered about that. So, but getting back to the swimming pool, I've got a 40-foot swimming pool.
About how much would that cost?
I think that we ended up spending, including all the equipment, the tiling, and everything else.
Not your price. What if you were to charge them to build one at their house?
I'd have to know the size, the quality, the finish, and everything else. But I guess you're looking at some in the region of $10,000 to $15,000.
So that's 10 to 50,000 euros. Oh, that's great, because I know we in the U.S. we were going to put a swimming pool in our backyard, and it's not as big as yours. It's half the size of what you have right there. And this was 10 years ago, and the price on it was $25,000. 10 years ago, I went 2 years ago, and I went to that same company, and it went from that price, and it was $35,000. It went up $10,000 just in that short amount of time. So anyway, that's actually a good price.
Yeah, what's the fact of life over here compared with Europe? In the UK, if you want to hire a bricklayer, someone who can lay bricks or hollow blocks, you're looking at maybe £150, £200 a day, $250 a day. Over here, you're looking at, for a bricklayer, tiler, mason, something in the region of about $12 a day. Fact of life.
I got a quick question right here, and it's not on. It has nothing to do with building, but it has to do with what software that we're using. Philippine Scene says, "What stream software are you using?" They say it's a very high quality video. What I'm using is OBS. OBS is open source. It's free software. If you go to the YouTube for the live streaming, and they have recommendations on what type of software that you use. There's some paid software packages, application software that you can get, and the OBS is a free one. And it's really not that difficult to configure, but there's so many things inside the configuration. A lot of the stuff you leave at default. So anyway, OBS, that's what I'm using.
Go to this one.
Okay, let's
Magic J23 is that?
Okay, Magic J23. He asked the question: pros and cons of building poured cement than hollow block. And I think he's talking about forms, more like form work instead.
I mean, we mentioned earlier that we saw as a styrofoam with mesh on the outside and you use shotcrete, which I've never used. It's a US thing, something we don't do in the UK. We use traditional methods over there, hollow block and brick, which you obviously use in America as well. Over here, I've only ever done traditional, which is hollow block only. But I know of one company in Carmona, which is closer to Manila than where we are, that specialise in precast concrete property. And when you look at their finish, it looks okay, but you can tell it's precast. Not my preference. So
and I think sometimes
I could do it, but I'd go to a specialist.
Well, let me ask you, as an expert, you've been doing this well, if you're doing it as a precast, is precast more susceptible to getting like the cracks inside there? Like my precast here, they've already covered 3, 4, 5 times in several of the precast areas for the detailing, and they've skim coated over it to because they'll get a
What
crack.
precast have you got?
Whatever the precast, we have a precast subcontractor that came in and did all the detailing, all the framing on the outside of the windows, and the nice detail in between the basement.
I wasn't here when they done that.
No, you weren't
See
here.
the finish. Okay, I wasn't aware what they
but
did.
it was done. Precast was done before, and they delivered it. They do it inside their manufacturing facility, then they deliver it here, then they install it. But is there, when you're talking about those precasts, are they?
Well, I'm talking about precast building panels. They, they design it, they make it in the factory made, they bring it here, and you can get something built very quickly. If someone wants information on that, I can provide that by email. I'd have to look into it and find out. Go back to the company that I knew 8-10 years ago. It's an Australian company, but I'm not that keen on what they do. But it's okay, and it's quick.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Wolfman. He wants to talk about insurance.
House insurance.
What kind of house insurance? Different types. Do you know? Because we don't have insurance yet on this place, right? And everybody I've asked in the Philippines, do you have? I don't know anybody that has house insurance on your house, but
house and fire insurance.
Yeah.
What do we do for house insurance?
We have fire insurance.
Yeah, we have insurance. You'd have to go to an insurance company and ask that question, I guess.
Well, Rhea,
I don't deal with that claim.
Rhea, I got my car insurance from the same place that you recommended. I'm extremely happy, and that's MapFree. Is that the same people that you're doing your house insurance through?
We do an house through BPI Bank, I think.
Is it the same MapFree?
No, it's not.
Again, Wolfman, we'll find out and we can make recommendations on that. But you can do the same online, obviously.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the Philippines it's no different from like North America. If you are mortgaging a house and you're going to the bank requires you have the insurance.
Exactly,
on that. So if you pay cash for your house, you have no obligation. There's no mandatory obligation for you to do that.
But it'll be easy enough to find out. Yeah. No problem at all.
And I will tell you, I feel a lot more secure having a concrete built house here than the wood built houses that we do in the U.S. In the U.S., you have to. It's a necessity. Well, you have to if you have a mortgage. But if you don't have a mortgage and you don't have it, and it is paid off, it's nothing but common sense inside there because everything is made out of wood, and you literally can lose whatever the price of your house is, no matter what, small or large. You can lose your entire investment in about 20 minutes with a major house fire.
Yeah, and you can't build wooden houses over here anyway. There's a severe termite problem. Nothing is made with... In the UK, all roof truss is made out of wood. Here, you just use steel for a roof truss. Nothing's made out... You have wooden doors, baseboard, things like that, but there's no problem, properly treated. But you don't use structural timber in building a house over here.
Okay, this is kind of we're a very conservative, non-controversial site here, and there's a question. We're going to answer it. We have to answer it politically correct here.
I can answer this one.
And this is from username Batabot. Batabot's been around for a while, and he has a question about advice on how to deal with local workers, with the culture and the habits. And I'm since David is hired on crews like that, I'm going to let him address that.
Okay, now in my 30, 40 years work experience, I've worked all over the world, and in these countries in the Middle East and Africa, they hire in designers, good designers, mostly from India and the Philippines. No cultural problems whatsoever. I'm used to managing a multicultural work group of designers and engineers. So I've never had any problems where I've worked. In this country, the way I handle that is I first select a foreman. I'd hire on a foreman and go with his advice on who to hire and who not to hire. He's the front man, he's the point man, as it were, and he handles all of that. If there's someone I'm not happy with his work, I just leave it to the foreman to take care of it. Because you have hire and fire in every country. You know, it's a fact of life. So I don't personally get involved in that.
All right, let's go back to some of the questions that we have here. Let's see. I have some nothing to... Jeff Davis asking about heat insulation. I talked about it in my video about the standard here, the foil insulation that he used inside here.
Yeah,
is that what you pretty much use?
Yeah, you just use foil insulation in the roof, within the roof, and that's it. You don't normally do it on the build itself within the framework, but As long as you paint your house on the outside with a light colour to reflect the heat, that's basically all you can do.
Yeah, and it seems it's pretty effective. I will tell you right now, we have a fan on in the background inside the house right here, and we've been up around 33, 34, and that's usually, 35 is usually about the hottest it gets in the Lipa area here. This is a very mild. This is a great place to retire. I'll tell you right now, and for the Philippines. You leave here, you go about 30 kilometers north of here, and you start dipping down from the mountain area, and it starts getting extremely hot. Yeah, it gets uncomfortably hot. But here, at nighttime, actually we have to sit around, we have to close the windows, we have the screen, and we have to close the windows so that the cool air doesn't make it too cool inside here.
Plenty of windows.
Plenty of windows and
circulation, through circulation of air is good.
Plenty of window screens if you don't want the buggies.
Where we're sitting right now, we've got a nice breeze coming in through the windows.
And the thing is, a correct orientation of your house and your living space with regard to the way the sun rises.
If you have that opportunity. We live on a lot where we are in Mount Malariah. We're restricted to the way the orientation of the house is. Front of our house gets rather warm. And I did make the mistake painting our house with a dark colour, simply because I like the colour. But we're going to repaint it with this year in a month or two.
Hey,
white.
Maybe you'll choose that paint that we looked at yesterday that has the 5 degree cooler UV.
What, the Dulux?
The UV. Yeah, we saw something yesterday at Worldex. It was interesting. We'll show you that on the video later.
The Dulux paint is we use Dulux in Europe. You've got it in the States.
I've never heard of it before.
Oh, okay. It must be European things.
Well, I'm not saying it is.
Paint. Dulux, I think it's made by ICI, big Imperial Chemicals, big company. And it looks like they're introducing that into this country at the same price as you buy local paint, Boyson. So I'm going to use that. The guy's going to call me when he's brought it in the country.
And we'll post that information. You'll see it today when we upload when we publish the Worldex 2018. Again, that's a great episode. Don't miss that one.
One by Lex.
Lex wants to know a question. I'm sure he's directing it to you. Are your doors heavy wood?
Well, heavy wood over here is narrow. It's extremely heavy and it's quite expensive as well. If you really want an expensive build, then you would use narrow. The local wood, which is good, economic, is the mahogany. They use Tangili wood as well, but mahogany is a nice wood. They're relatively expensive over in the UK, imported over there. But over here, it's commonplace and not expensive.
And mahogany is actually used for most of the furniture building. Furniture building.
Mahogany is good.
And they all have mahogany, Nara, and Yakal. They all have the characteristics. They're insect resistant. They have properties for moisture. If you're building in like a wet area and things like that, you have less of a problem with them than other type of woods that will tend to warp and crack and shrink and expand and things like that. Let's do this one real quick, and this hits kind of close to home. We got a question from Pat, and they want to know about what about Pebble Dash finish? And I imagine is that what we're using? But are
you talking about in the floor?
I don't know.
Well, it isn't actually. You can have what they call pebble washout, which is in the floor. We can take some pictures and upload it. What we mean by that, the multicolored stones, little pebbles.
Well, that's what we have. What we're doing on our patio here.
Yeah, but I think what Pebble
Dash? Is that different?
Pebble Dash in the UK means it's on the fascia of the house. You put it all the way around on the walls.
Okay.
And you can have that kind of a finish. It's generally not done in this country. There are different finishes over here. You can buy what they call brick slits. It's the size of a brick and it's about 1/2 inch thick, and you can put those on the outside. You have more of a traditional European US build. Brick slits are nice. I've never used Pebble Dash, but no problem.
And I imagine if you use something like this over here, you would really need to seal it if you're using it for the exterior of your house, because even though we haven't sealed this right here, if you put it on any rough surface, it attracts dirt. You know how much dust flows around here. True. And then when you get the dust inside there, in conjunction with the especially during rainy season, the humidity we have, then you have mold and algae and things like that growing inside all those little cracks and
crevices. You can always use a high pressure wash to clean your walls. You obviously use it for your tiles, because after a year or two they need it.
You're going to need that. You're going to need. Oh, I have to do it. We live in a very, very humid, or we did live in. Where the house is still in the U.S. It's extremely humid. If as not as humid here during rainy season, it's more humid in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am constantly pressure washing Uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh.
Have we lost?
Oh,
No,
wait a
no,
minute.
it's
Well,
up,
our
up.
stream health went. What
No,
happened?
no, it's up.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah. Here.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's see.
Jeremy Vogel.
Oh, Jeremy Vogel. Any thoughts on
Expandable house.
and
You can build it in
container?
such a way you can extend it sometime in the future, but it's not a problem at all. That's
Well, I've
easy
seen.
enough to do.
Are these the modular houses? Is that what they're talking about?
Well,
we just.
Yeah, any house. I
I've
mean,
seen
in this
those.
country, the way it's built, you can easily add an extension onto it. It's not a problem. You also mentioned containers. I've actually designed using containers out in Nigeria. We do field site huts, labs, things like that. So I've built field buildings using containers out in Nigeria for Chevron. There are specialist companies that do that. I know there's a big one in Florida. It's an interesting subject, that.
Off subject. Tom Brooks on notes. Do you speak Tagalog?
Hindi. Hindi matalino ako. Hindi matalino.
Yeah, we're working on it. We'll put it like that. Okay, let's talk username early retirement. They want to know, have you installed solar panels cost effective? I know David was actually in the solar business for a while.
For a little while, yeah. I did a course at Delft University in the Netherlands. I've never personally done an installation, but I've designed them, and they are very cost effective. In the UK, when they had the feed-in tariff, you can cover the cost of these things. The return on investment, for about 7 or 8 years. Over here, the sun's shining most of the time. It's a very good thing to do.
But
personally, I would thoroughly recommend it.
But we were at the Worldbeck yesterday. One of the things that I am always interested in, you know how we've had some of the owners, the proprietors of some of the biggest solar companies here in the Philippines, they stopped by here by our build here at FELIZ, and they talked about solar technologies up here. But what Dave and I, we asked the question yesterday because something that's really important is storage. You know, what's Tesla, the big company Tesla, that's doing all it's like lithium batteries in there.
Yeah,
You
you
cannot get lithium batteries in the Philippines. They are still with old technology, with the lead acid batteries over here, and and that's what we are not installing. I haven't broadcast it yet, but we're roughed in for a solar option here already. We have all the pipes that go to the roof. We will install the solar panels. But the two reasons right now, because of the technology, I feel isn't up to date with the battery backup.
I've got an answer for that.
You got an answer for that one? Okay. Yeah. And my other one is our electric utility company here in the Philippines, Badelec 2, does not do net metering yet. I can't believe how far they are behind with the power curve for going green like the other utility companies are. When they go with net metering, we'll readdress our solar solution here, and we will probably go with it once we get that in. But we really, if cost effectiveness, the return on our investment is extremely poor, so we probably won't do that. And you're going to...
Yeah, working in the Middle East a few years ago, we're also in the carpet business. We imported a lot of carpets. James has bought some as well. Now what we did is we put the carpets in balikbayan boxes, which you must have in the States as well, company doing these balikbayan boxes. Yes. And everything we bought in the Middle East, and there were a lot of boxes, we had shipped through the company, specialist company doing that, and they delivered everything right to our door. No problem with import, duties and everything else. So I would recommend sticking a battery. There's lots of companies, there's 12 or 14 top quality companies making lithium-ion batteries. Stick one in a balikbayan box and send it over.
Well, but the thing is that you got to be careful with those because some of the one of the restrictions with sending batteries over, like the lithium batteries in laptops and cell phones and things like that, they can actually catch fire. So
I don't know about that.
That's something you got to be really careful about. So if you think about doing something like that,
I don't know if you can isolate it, make it safer or something like that. I'm not sure about the safety aspect of it. That would need to be looked into.
That would have to be looked into, yeah. So let's kind of move on. And
I mean, just one thing when you're considering solar is when you intend using what the usage split is. I mean, if you're going to be using all your power up during the day, you're not going to need a battery at night. But if it's only lightly, if you've got your aircon on all the time, that's going to burn up what you saving, what you creating immediately. 4 kilowatt system isn't going to keep an aircon going for very long. But if you want to use it at night, you're going to need a battery for that. If you don't use much power in the daytime, it's design a system for what you need it for. Calculate how much power you're going to use in the day and night, and then design it accordingly. But the system on its own is great.
Well, something I want to piggyback on that, and I just thought about it. When we were at Oralbex yesterday, at the very end, one of the last vendors inside there, they had a booth set up, and they actually do training for installation of the solar panels, integration into the grid, all the applications that you need. They have a regular and an advanced class, and David actually signed up for that class, and he will be going, and I would be willing to bet that if you are doing an installation through David's company and you want the solar option, he can actually do that as part of the part of the build, and it will probably be much less
cost efficient.
With him doing it as part of the contract package, the bill of material, the BOQ, whatever you want to call it. But I guarantee you, am I speaking wrong?
No problem at all. I mean, my experience has been on the design side and selling. I've sold solar as well.
The installation and the design side is where you're paying a lot. It's actually the price of the material isn't quite that bad. Especially solar panels keep going down and down.
Yeah.
The inverter's a little bit expensive inside there, but the installation, hooking up inside the grid, to make you do it all right. And then, of course, you also have to do all your documentation, your paperwork. You have to submit it to your utility company, so that they don't get zapped. It has to be all legal.
Once I've done one set of paperwork, because we'll end up putting panels on our own house, and I know what they're doing.
And they teach you that. That's part of the course that Dave's going to be going through. And this is kind of along the same lines, and it has to do because you have to have all the pipe work integrated inside for the solar. But on top of that, we got a question from Boss Mike, and I have a question to add on top of this right here, or a comment. He says, can you count on the contractor to tell you where all your pipes, wiring, etc. are located? Now, I will tell you right now, I don't know what David's procedure is. Normally, if you have a set of diagrams in the U.S., a set of blueprints, they identify where all your electrical is going to go. It identifies where all your pipes are going to go. I will tell you, we have none of that on our. No. My architect didn't provide me with it, or if he did, he didn't follow any of it. When they built here in the Philippines, and I don't know about you, they just put whatever it is wherever they can find the
guy actually, the plumber, the guy doing the actual. There's not a separate contractor. It's all part of the main. You have one contractor who'll be responsible for everything. He will have a plumber, and the plumber, he'll tell the plumber, we need it routing from there to there. And he'll just route it any way he wants. He won't follow the plans. Now, what they should do, that's not a big problem if you do an as-built, so you know where everything is afterwards. But you're not going to get that. The foreman's not going to do it, and the contractor's not going to go around.
Oh, they're not. The contractor's not.
No, I mean, your guy.
So he doesn't. But he has taken a few pictures, but not enough pictures, because you're going to be drilling into the walls at some point, and you don't want to drill into a PPR pipe that's embedded inside concrete.
Yeah.
You don't want to drill into any of your electrical that's embedded inside.
No, but you shouldn't get that, because where you position wiring and where you position pipes, there are standard locations for that.
But directly above your service box.
Yeah, I mean, you get everything. Yeah, how you route the pipes and everything else is a standard way of constructing anything, and you know never to drill in those areas. But what James has said is the best way to do it is when you're building something, continually taking photographs of everything. It's the best record you have of where things are.
Well, I'll tell you right now, ours is, there's no standard in our building, our house right here. I will tell you, there's not one thing that's standard. But it is what it is. We're running kind of late here. We're at 55 minutes in the broadcast.
Okay, let's go through some of these very quickly.
So we're going to try to go through. I don't want to make this too long because I try not to go over 1 hour. What we can do, if you would like, if you have more questions, you can either go directly to David, or if you enjoyed this broadcast, this live cast that we're doing today, and you would like us to do another live cast at a later date, just let us know. Before, I don't know, because you're leaving. When are you going back to the UK?
I'm going back to the UK next Friday night, Saturday night. I'm leaving at midnight Friday.
Yeah, so probably,
I'm going to be away for 10 days only, then I'm going to be back.
Yeah.
But I'll have access to my email, so I can always answer questions.
There you go.
Magic J23 property tax. You've obviously got taxes to pay. I can be more specific on that through email. So, will I have an email address I can?
I will take your email, and I will, when hopefully this is recording. I hit the stream recording button, so hopefully this entire event is recorded, and then we will publish it so that people can view today's episode later. Because we only have 218 people watching at the moment, and we have a subscriber base of over 10,000. But it was my bad. I didn't know exactly when we were going to do the streaming event. I knew around, and I didn't publicize it well enough. So the next one, I will give plenty of notice when we're going to stream.
On the property taxes, you got taxes to pay when you're building. You got taxes to pay when you're selling. But I can be very specific on that, and I'll respond to on the website or through email.
Okay. And taxes aren't really that bad here in New Philippines.
When you sell it, it gets a bit expensive.
Yeah, well, when you sell it, because they have an estate tax when you sell your property. But for you to live inside here, the taxes are extremely reasonable compared to Western taxes.
I think 6.5% when you sell your property.
Oh.
Let's go through this quickly. Batibot again. Is one of your
same
regular
one.
subscribers. Okay. You recommend wallboard as walls inside the house and hardy board for showers. Hardy board, hardy flex. Well, hardy flex. You've got moisture-resistant boards you use in wet area, regular boards you use in dry areas. Normally in the UK, we'll use wall boards, gypsum board for dry lining a house. Over here, everything's plastered. That's the way they go. And it's done quickly enough and relatively efficiently. So I'd go with a local build using cement rather than cement board.
And the Hardy Flex, what he was just talking about, and we've talked about it in previous episodes during the build. If you're doing it in a wet room, make sure you get the moisture-resistant Hardy Flex that they have inside there. Your builder won't offer. Most of the time, your builder will not offer that to you. And then what you're going to have mold, you're going to have sag, you're going to have deterioration of that. But what we will do, and this is one of my to-do list at the end of the Villa FELIZ series after the house is built, I'm going to put a complete list of construction materials recommended for each different part of the house. And a lot of them I got from David. David did a scrub of all of my original materials before we started building, and I presented that to my contractor, and we made a tremendous change. That's why part of the cost actually went up too. Thank you, David, about that.
Okay. I can be specific on wallboard, something like that, in the build. Yeah. I'll answer that online, I guess.
Okay, this is a good question. People ask this a lot. The username moving on. He wants to know why the floor is installed the way that they install floor. You know, they do a mud deck here like they're doing here, just like you would do on a shower install. You do the mud deck where they're doing the dry mix of the concrete. And then they do a tile adhesive that they put on the tile, then they put that down.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do a semi-dry, wet mix, and then to me, it's time-consuming to do it that way. In the UK, we'd have a perfectly flat concrete floor, and then you use the what do you call it? You get a drum of a tile adhesive, about 3 millimeter thick. Right. But I've had trouble in the past getting that in this country. Yeah. So, but anyway, you can get it now, and that's the quickest way to lay tiles, rather than the way they do it.
And I'm going to make an observation here. I think one of the reasons why they do it like they do it, because I've seen it done with and without before. And if you do it without the dry mix that they have, what I call the mud deck inside there, I think it's more susceptible to tile breakage inside there, because that's why one of the other builders in here is doing it like that. He has a lot of tiles that are broken inside.
Well, one thing
we haven't had one tile broken so far. Knock on this.
The problem with doing this semi-dry mix is when you put the tiles down, if they haven't got it just right, those tiles will lift off very easily. I don't like it, and I make sure. One other thing they do over here is I like to see, the way they do it, I like to see that you've got concrete right up to the edges when they're laying tiles, because what they tend to do is leave a bit where the joints are, and could break.
And push it in with your thumb afterwards.
It's time-consuming way to do it. It's not the best way. I would do it differently next time around, because you can get the mix now, the 3 mil thin bed mix.
But that's kind of the standard. The way that these guys are doing it here is pretty much the standard.
One thing when you're laying tiles here, you've got to make sure when you're building a house that everything is square. If the walls are not square, and it happens frequently, you'll notice it on the tiles as you go around the edges of the building. The line of the tile doesn't line up with the edge of the wall.
That's true.
That's
That's
a
big problem over here. And this is a question from Jay. I can't. Is it Rove or Roku? He wants to know. And this is a question a lot of people are going to ask you.
Yeah.
What is your radius of building if people come in and would like you to build for them?
Anything's possible. It's difficult. I know this area.
Specifically Baguio.
Yeah, I know this area south of Manila, southwest of Manila, Tagaytay in here, and I know lots of contractor supplies here. This is my comfort zone. Baguio, I don't know anyone up there.
That's way
I
up
could.
there.
There's 2 or 3 options here. It will cost too much for me to go up and stay up there with accommodation, everything else to do something. I could.
And I imagine it's the scope of the project. If the scope of the project was huge and was worthwhile for you to do that, then you would probably be interested.
If someone's got an unlimited budget, anything's possible.
Yeah,
but what I would do, the way I would handle this, is that I could project manage it and work with a local contractor. I could select a local contractor, or Matt could, or sorry, no, that's the wrong one.
I put that back over here. That's
okay.
Over here.
J Rock. I know Baguio. I could give advice on that. I could put you in touch with some local contractors we could find out over here. I could do the job, but I will also. I don't know why your preference would be Baguio. I guess it's
cool. It's cool. It's very cool there. It's up in the mountain area.
Yeah, but Tagaytay is cool as well.
It is cool as well.
Closer for me.
Well, the thing is, most of the people here are building where their spouses live. That's
that's the biggest reason.
That's the main reason.
If you have a specific reason to go to Baguio, then that's fine. If someone's not sure where they want to go, I could make recommendations not far from where we live. Beach areas, higher areas up in Tagaytay where I used to live at Canyon Woods. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Canyon Woods, but there's some developments around there, and there's a good expat community in the south and southwest of Manila. But if you want to be specific on Baguio with the reasons why you want to go there and what you have in mind, and if you have a budget and everything else, I can be more specific with a response. Okay. That's all I can say.
We're going to go real fast. I want to get through these answers real fast. Right. So what we're going to do...
All the questions coming in, we can answer them at a later. Yeah. We can come back to these
I just want to go through a couple of them that the subscribers did earlier that I have stored up, and then we'll go through these really, really fast. So heavy equipment. Why don't they use heavy equipment inside the Philippines?
When you're paying 300 pesos a day for labor, it's... Unless you're a big contractor... you don't want to invest the capital in the equipment.
Well, a lot of them are rental. A lot of them are rental.
You can rent equipment, but you
excavate like this. What we did right here.
Yeah.
We would have been. It would have been horrible if we would have had manual labor digging the basement out here. That would have been a 2-month build when we got it all done in a day and a half with that. So anyway, it's all about cost of. And I know that David has the way he thinks is the thing. It's a numbers kind of a thing. And if it's more cost effective and he can get you your house built quicker, I'm sure he'll use the heavy equipment as opposed to...
If I had one house to build, I'm obviously not going to go and invest in a lot of capital equipment. A plate compactor, which James wants for his driveway, you can buy a small piece of equipment, but generally labour intensive a build over here is. But if one has plenty of work and bigger projects, then you'd obviously go and invest in the equipment.
Okay, I think that on the ones that I had that was stored up, most of the people asking the same thing. Where are you willing to build? The last one was from Colleen again, and things like that. There was one more inside here. We already talked about
if you want to go and do what you want to do outside, I can carry on with
I have to close this out.
All right, let's go very quickly then.
So, not here. Don't worry about these anymore.
Okay,
let's go to these
Winky. Winky. Would a good design build double or triple the value, or location matters first? You're not going to double or triple the value of your house in this country. It doesn't work that way here. Because people go out, they build what they want. If you want a house building, it'll be to your design and your location. There is not a great second-hand market for property over here. So which means when you come and buy a house, if you don't want to build one and you want to make an offer on one, you can lowball in some instances, but not ridiculously so. Location's very important. Location's very important. I can, again, if someone comes in and said, this is what I'm looking for, a beach location, I can make recommendations based on what I know, and you don't need to leave loose on.
Okay, Marianne, she wants to know about bugs. I worry about mosquitoes and bugs. So do we.
We haven't got Well, on all your Windows property build over here, you've got mosquito screens.
Yeah.
We don't. Well, don't worry about mosquitoes.
David has it all on his house. I have it all on the house here.
Yeah.
And the mosquitoes actually, for some reason, I don't know what it's like over Mount Malheur. We don't really have a big problem.
We don't have
with
a problem
mosquitoes.
either.
You would think in the Philippines around all the water, but I think it's because Lipa is in higher elevation. We have good drainage
and
here.
it's a bit cooler, so it's good.
Cooler, and you got to realize mosquitoes are territorial. They only go in a certain area. So if there's an area where there's standing water, remember standing water.
Okay,
is
just the other one about bugs. It's the termites on the build, but no problem with that. That's taken care of when you build something.
And you can also do what you're supposed to do at the very end of the build. You're supposed to do a poison, what's called poisoning.
You poison the earth. I do that several times during the build at foundation level.
My builder hasn't done it yet. It's built in my contract.
We've got no problem.
He has not done it yet. I have to have that done. And also, if you look at WorldBex from our episode that's going to be published today, there's a point of contact for a company that actually does that to make sure that you don't have any problem with
They charge quite a lot of money, these termite companies that come in.
Or you can do it yourself. And if
you can do it yourself, it's easier.
And they actually you can do it. There's like the piping system that have perforated holes around. And then you inject this stuff into the soil, and it's cheaper to like a year or something like that.
I'm not a fan of those. I know somebody that's used the company.
Matt wants to know, how do you handle humidity, heat roof structure? Is there mold mitigation issues?
I've never come across a mold problem. The only mold problem you might have is if you buy hollow blocks from a disreputable company where they don't use pure sand in the manufacture of the hollow blocks. They might use
sea sand. They'll do some of the sea sand inside here. It won't be cleansed. It won't be washed.
Yeah, river sand.
Sand.
What you'll have a problem there is when you start to get a little bit of green moss on your hollow blocks, you know what that's been made out of. But you can tell looking at these things what they've used.
And David's correct. If you do use the proper type of construction materials. But I do know there's other things. You will get mold if you don't do certain things inside your house. Yeah. Mold is present when you have heat and humidity and you don't have proper air ventilation. We have a resident inside this subdivision who complains all the time about mold in their house. Yeah. And what I suspect they keep their windows closed. They have no air circulation, and all they keep is just they blow the fan inside the house. They have aircon, but they don't use the aircon that much. And my recommendation to them is to open the windows up, get proper airflow. And if you're using the aircon, there's actually, even when you're not using the aircon, if you see a problem with humidity, measure the relative humidity inside your house. You have those little measurement devices that's here. As it starts getting above maybe 70 or 80, if it gets to 70, 75, 80% relative humidity inside your house, use the dehumidifier on your aircon unit. That will get rid of a lot of that. Next one right here. This is a comment Nessa saying to me that I need to do something here. Let's look. We're going to
very quick ones. I know small tiles in the bathroom. Worried about mold. Never worry about mold. You treat the walls before you put tiles on anyway. Turn your lights in the bedroom at night. What is that?
That's
some IQ.
Here's a tip: turn your lights on in the bedroom at night. There will be no mosquitoes while you're sleeping.
Okay. Great one. You get these little zappers you can buy and put them around. But where we are at Mount Malheur and where you are here, we don't suffer from mosquito problems.
A question by Hippie Point Project, Larry Francis: is a circular house more demanding to build? If so, why?
Sorry, what was that?
Circular houses. You know, there are people doing the dome.
There's no problem doing that. I mean, you put the bricks in, obviously, or the blocks in as you go around, and you cut the blocks so that you haven't got such a pronounced, what do you call it? Too many sides on the circle.
But you can do that.
No problem. Then you just plaster it round to a good finish.
And what the question is it more demanding? So it's really not more demanding, probably than a standard.
It is more demanding. It is. It is. I mean, it's easy to set out. I've done a turret. No problem. It's not a problem. And
he would build that. If you're interested and you want him to build it, he'll give you a pricing, and he'll let you know. And that has to do with the cost of labor, the time involved.
Hold on. It's just one there for Canyon Woods. I'm interested. Can you go back up?
All right.
Someone mentioned something in Canyon Woods.
Which was that one? Oh, right there. Steep streets in Canyon Woods.
Yeah, there are steep streets over there. When you go in phase phase 4 over that side, it's quite steep, yeah.
Okay, and we're going to close this up here. It says, one of you, Winky says, thank you, David, for the reply on the location.
Do you know why they don't use 1/8 of an inch wide hollow blocks?
Wow, 1/8 inch. I've never heard of that.
Or is that 8 inch?
Or maybe
8 inch wide. There's no need. The time you use a 6-inch hollow block, if that's what the question is, 6-inch hollow block with an inch of plastering each side, you're going to get an 8-inch wall finish.
Yeah. And it's actually, I showed an example, even using 4-inch concrete hollow block, the strength. Somebody said your walls will not be strength. We had 4-inch concrete that we removed.
Yeah.
We had in the stairway when we modified the design of the stairway, and I was up there with a 4-inch filled inside with the concrete, trying to break it with a sledgehammer.
It is strong, yeah, but
extremely strong.
Hollow block walls are not load bearing. You design the house with the concrete frame, and all the hollow block is just a panel beam to beam, and that's all it is, with rebar going through vertical and horizontally.
Okay,
so you don't physically use the hollow block to design a house. It's the concrete frame that does it.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope a lot of your questions were answered. I hope you gained something from today's episode.
Magic 1, 2, 3.
David doesn't want to stop. He doesn't realize I have a limitation on the
You can bring in a contractor, or you can do it yourself. It's irrelevant.
Okay.
Piping's important with that, and equipment, your sand filter or whatever equipment you use. Okay. No problem. I'm a piping designer as well, so I know how to design the piping for a swimming pool.
Okay, so it's enough. We're gonna close this out. We were at an hour and 12 minutes, and I don't know how to upload this. I don't know how to save this yet. I'm hoping we did everything properly inside here.
But I like these questions, and I like to answer everything.
Very, very good questions.
If I don't know, I'll find out.
Yeah, okay. And if you like this type of a venue that we did here today, I will be back. You remember a lot of you know that I'm going back for a vacation back to the U.S. I have to see some family members. There's some business I need to tie up. David's going to be gone for just a little bit, but he'll be back before I do. And what we'll do is we will engage more in both his business. For him, right off the bat, you send him the emails. I'll put it in the description block today.
Yep.
And then you can ask him anything, especially if you are interested in building and you want a reputable, and I will give my endorsement on that. I've seen David's work before. I've seen what he expects out of his work and his eye for detail.
My finishing skills are good.
Very good, very good. And he catches everything. His house, you saw his house. His house is impeccable. I can go through this house right here, and I can find little things everywhere inside this build right here. But his house is impeccable. So I'm gonna close for today. And
yep. I'll just say a couple of things in closing. I mean, life is a learning process. There are methods that you will use in the US that I don't use, but I could learn and try. I prefer the traditional build. It's easier for me to do that, but I'm open to any suggestions.
And that's a good thing. And that is one thing I will say about my contractor, my builder that I have right now. He is open to suggestion. Many of the things that he did in his design build when we started, I modified. And I modified because I know construction in the U.S. and now I know construction inside the Philippines. And when I find a better way to do things or something that would look better, be structurally more sound and support, I presented it to my builder. And he approved. He said, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it the way you want to do. So I got to give him that for his integrity for that as well. And David will do the same thing. So anyway, thank you very much.
One more thing to say then. I'm not pushing myself to build anything for anyone, and I'm quite happy to give advice or make recommendations as well. Absolutely no problem.
Very good, very good. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us here today. If I could find where the button is to stop the recording and stop the stream, I will do so. And again, thank you very much and for the great comments. I have to applaud all of you on this channel that we have right here. This forum that we have here.
Summit Point.
Come on, David.
I
have to close. I have to close.
Okay, then. I know Summit Point Golf Course. I've played there many times. It's nice. I can make recommendations on Lockbine over there.
I'm turning the camera away. I'm not going to let him see what's going on. Well, anyway, thank you very much, and thank you to my guest here, David, for being here today. And,
One floor, simple house.
No, stop reading. Stop reading. I'm going to close the screen. You're not going to get the look.
Email all these questions.
You're not going to get the look.
Keep me interested. Okay.
Okay, he's off. I have pulled the chat away from him. Again, thank you very much for today's for the involvement, engagement in today's episode.
Is there a way of finding out who is these questions coming in, where they are?
Nope.
What
If they
part
say,
of the world? Not on this.
No, not
okay.
on this one. You can't get that on the analytics that they have as well. But anyway, if you have any more questions, please engage in dialogue with David from his email. We'll post that as long as it's saved properly. Thank you very much for coming to our live cast today. I hope everything that we're doing here with the build in the Philippines, I hope this is unique. I hope that this is something that you haven't been able to get from some of the other sites that do presentations here in the Philippines. And I hope that other people will engage in very similar, so this grows and other people do the same type of vlogging that we're doing here, so that the community is more aware of how to build properly inside.
Yep, and the questions coming in, when we provide an answer, would make that open to everybody.
Yeah,
so
everybody.
Okay. Not specific. Okay.
All right. Anyway, okay. Make sure you copy and paste the chat. How do you copy and chat? How do you do that? Okay. So Well, I am going to.
You literally copy.
Let's see. Can I do that? Let me see if I can do that.
Control C for that.
Oh, I can do. I'm doing. I just did. Okay. So anyway, I am closing the stream. Thank you very much. And I don't know if we're going to do a send. I will probably. We have enough time today.
There, so people can email right
I will
now.
put your email inside it. Don't worry. Anyway, do you know what your email is off the top?
It's Delta Echo Echo Yankee Alpha Juliet at yahoo.com.
And if you don't know acronyms, it will be. I will make sure that you get it.
DEEJY.
It'll be in today's and also the world. I know the World X is safe. So anyway. I have to stop now. Thank you very much. We will continue the Build FELIZ episode today. I will start after this gets done because we have people building today, and we will start that up as well. So again, thank you very much, and I will see you on the next episode.
Goodbye from the Philippines.
Have a wonderful day.